Hey gang, Dennis Tubbergen here with another economic update. Today is Tuesday, April 17. Reminder, if you haven't done it already, get your taxes filed or at least an extension. Larry Kudlow is now a White House economic advisor, and I have an article here that was run in the Washington Examiner. The article is written by Pete Kasporowicz. And the title of the article is Larry Kudlow Never Believed the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. I'll give you just a little bit from the article. White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow on Tuesday said the Congressional Budget Office has no idea how to measure the impact of tax cuts and dismissed the CBO's prediction the tax cut bill would raise the debt by $1 trillion over a decade. Never believed the CBO, he said on Fox News. Very important. Never believe them. They're always wrong, especially with regard to tax cuts, which they never score properly because they don't understand the growth, the incentives, and the encouragements to reward success. The Congressional Budget Office said the tax bill would add another $1 trillion in debt, but Kudlow has rejected this finding and argued it doesn't reflect the growth that the tax cuts will bring to the U.S. We're already moving to a 3% growth path, Kudlow said. I believe we'll stay on that path and make it even better. The CBO people are professionals. This is not a personal attack, he added, but their track record on tax cuts is not good. Well, I think that Mr. Kudlow does make a point here that the CBO maybe doesn't understand the effect of tax cuts. However, when you look at private sector debt levels, it's going to be very, very difficult to maintain 3% growth. That's going to be deflationary. And you should also be aware that Mr. Kudlow doesn't have such a great track record when it comes to predicting things either. This is a piece that I use occasionally to encourage people to think for themselves. And Business Week, Kiplinger's, and USA Today all reported on false predictions made at different points in time. We go from the 2007-2008 bank credit meltdown to the tech stock bubble crash. And Mr. Kudlow made a couple of predictions around the tech stock bubble crash. Excuse me. Kudlow said in February of 2000, as the stock market was correcting, he said this correction will run its course until the middle of the year. Not even Greenspan can stop the internet economy. Well, the middle of the year is when the meltdown started and the stock market finished negative in 2000, 2001, and 2002. So strike one for Mr. Kudlow. Secondly, he said in June of 2002, after the stock market had finished its 3-year decline, the shock therapy of a decisive war will elevate the stock market by a couple thousand points with Dow 35,000 by 2010. That is especially a concerning statement given that Mr. Kudlow believes a decisive war will elevate the stock market, and incidentally, his Dow 35,000 by 2010 obviously never happened either. I believe, moving ahead, that you need to be defensive. Private sector debt levels are high. Worldwide debt levels have gone from about $140 trillion around the time of the financial crisis to $230 trillion, and all of the growth that we've seen economically speaking, I believe, can be attributed to more debt that is accumulating. And when you have debt-fueled consumption, when you have economic growth that's tied to debt accumulation, it's not economic growth at all. If you have stock positions, I would suggest that you protect them, and certainly you want to have stable type value assets moving ahead, in my view. That's today's economic update.